This is Malaya. Let me be.
Yes. So my background is in construction, real estate, solar, right? It's all kind of revolving around building construction. I actually can't even believe that Satori Ventures is a thing. It really it was just a thought years and years ago. I always knew that when I got into real estate back in 2009, I've been licensed since 2009 in Boston. And I always knew that I would, want to build something one day. I don't just want to be licensed and buying and selling. I also knew that I wanted to build something meaningful, right? I want to have, solar panels on my projects. I want it to be ultra functional. I knew I wanted to build in a way that actually helps people get outside of the house to go experience life. I also knew I wanted to incorporate a lot of color and art into real estate because, to keep it honest, a lot of real estate is very cookie cutter. It's very expensive, and the accessibility is very limited to certain groups of people. So I wanted to do something about that, to create art and beauty within construction, but also just provide accessibility to people so that way more people can have access to home ownership, right? So that is Satori Ventures. And Satori in Japanese, from my understanding, right, is it means like awakening, or like sudden awakening, almost like epiphany. And so for me, Satori Ventures is my platform to help people awaken within real estate.
And how did you come up with the Japanese name for Awaken Satori? What inspired you? Have you been in Japan or?
I feel like I'm constantly having awakening moments of like very deep learning. And I feel like, based off of just all my travels and everything that I've learned just from living life, so many different moments of realizing the greater purpose, or what is fulfillment, or what is happiness, led me to just wanting to share what I feel I know or understand with the world. And a lot of that is really getting out of the house and experiencing life, going and sharing memories with people and friends, going to experience and tasting exquisite food, or even street food. Like money doesn't have to do with how much money something costs, right? Or like the value in that sense. It's really just more experiential. Which is kind of counterintuitive, right? Because when you think real estate, it's like you want to build something beautiful and amazing for the house and for people to live in. And it's like that is kind of true, but most experiences really kind of happen outside. So it's a way for people to be very comfortable, but also to go out and experience really what life has to offer. And, a lot of the time that's not in the house.
And Kimberly, what is really important for you for when you're thinking about the projects you are working on? What kind of experience you want to provide for the people who are interested in your projects?
Yeah. So the interesting thing is that there's not too many women in construction. There's a lot of women in real estate, buying and selling, licensees and whatnot, but not in like building, right? Super male dominated, even in solar, which is also like, I also work in the solar industry, and that's also, predominantly male dominated. And so when people walk through any of my projects, I want them to feel just very much at home. I want them to feel ultra relaxed. I want them to feel loved. Right. And so when it comes to design, not just like design layout, but just in picking out the color, in staging, in choosing the different art pieces, and incorporating plants, add plants into the space to give it some aliveness. So So those are the feelings I want to evoke in people. When people walk into the master bedroom, I want them to think sensuality and I just want to make love, right? Like that's what I want for when people walk into the space. I don't want it to just be cookie cutter bed frame with some art that looks good together. I want it to evoke feelings of like passion. And so, and again, like the aliveness plants, like plants are everywhere outside, but I want the oxygen to also be prevalent inside of the space, on top of color, because color just makes everything more beautiful. So those, like, that's really my intention when people walk in. I think another important piece is building so that way it's a lot more sustainable. Sustainability is also really important to me. And so whenever I can, solar panels on the roof, so that way it can produce clean energy and feed that into the various units. I also want it to be, so on top of like solar panels, even choosing paints that have like no VOC, so that way the air is just cleaner. You can feel good about the air that is circulating in the house, right? Good ventilation, good insulation, so that way it, helps reduce your overall energy consumption and energy cost. So it's very kind of smart. We use products that, for example, our toilets, low flow toilets. It uses less water, energy efficient dishwasher, so that way it consumes less water. So making it functional for people, because I think it's really important for people to feel convenience in their space, right? But on top of that, it's like kind of keeping the overarching, planet in mind within building construction. So yeah, I felt like I went off on a bunch of tangents, but I hope that was a good answer to that. Yeah, it's just providing convenience, providing good space so people can just feel good in. That also pushes them to go out and experience life, because again, you want to be here. It's convenient. It's where you live. But living is all outside of us. It's all outside of the dwelling in which we stay.
Kimberly, I believe you travel a lot across the globe. So as we all know, like the perspective of how our apartment or a house looks like is very different across all cultures. And then you mentioned some very good point that there are not many women in construction. So what do you think is a sustainable construction? And do you think the more women has to be involved in that kind of construction phase? Because if men are developing construction for women, maybe some part is missing. So what is your opinion about that perspective?
Yeah. So the interesting thing is that women make most of the household decisions, and they also, especially in America, women are the one who chooses the house, right? Like they're the one who kind of make
I don't
the
think
decision.
It's a global.
Yeah, it's global. Yeah. So exactly. Women will choose where they want to live with the man because they're thinking about family. They're thinking about all of these things that I think men are beautiful and super intelligent beings. I think that men and women have different skill sets. And so having a woman give her take on the environment. I'm not talking about the outside environment. I'm talking more about the environment inside of the house. How do they want it to flow? How do they want it to feel? And if more women were just involved in the design and functionality, I think the world would just be happier because they're comfortable. And it'll also be a lot more inviting for families or creating a space that is conducive to promoting more family bonding, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of like separation with all of like the walls and everyone has like their own space. I think that's important to some degree, but and it's something that I'm also realizing more and more is like the
Well, what is
value
the
of
reason why we don't have more women? If this is all true, what you just said, it's so I completely agree with you. So why is not attractive for more women to do what you do?
Yeah, I think it's so. I feel like it can be very intimidating. Like, okay, I'm just gonna keep it real. Women can walk by a construction site, and it can, cat calls. You just get lots of stares, right? I feel like just as a woman alone in that type of environment and industry, even as a bystander, just walking through construction sites because I'm just like going to the store, you get so many like, hey mama, hey girl, and it's already so uncomfortable to be around so many types of men, right? To let alone work with that type of, you know, environment or mentality, it can be very intimidating. It's also construction. So like you're getting dirty, there's wires everywhere. There's like, skilled tradesmen, right? Tradesmen and women. There's more women kind of coming into the space, but it's still very much dominated by our male counterparts, which is fine. Like I'm totally cool with that. But again, it's just very dirty. It's like electrical. It's plumbing. It's like it's not the most glamorous, clean. It's like it's laborish, and so I think there's some intimidation there of like just the actual job in and of itself outside of the environment, right? Because I have a lot of guy friends. Like my partner is my builder. So even going on his job sites outside of our job site, I'm just like, whoa, it's so fascinating. Guys are just swearing. There's beer. People are, like it's like a different energy, right? And I don't know, maybe it could just be a lot for a woman. But we do really well at it, and that's the thing. We go in and we can see color. We see like different designs. We see things that sometimes a man might not be able to see because their skill set is in something else. And it's totally respectable. I think that's why having partnerships and just or even a say in how things are would be super helpful.
Yeah, hopefully some members from our group will be inspired by this interview, and maybe they can start thinking about a new career. And I have a question for you about this particular time when we are all living, when many people are facing that they are spending more time at home than ever before in a life. Like in 2020, many people are working from home or they never worked from home before. So what is your opinion about that? Is it okay that you have your, as you said, beautiful bedroom that you want to make love all day, and then at the same time you have a working desk where you are making money, and then just go back to your bedroom? Is that possible to have everything in the same place, or is better to separate somehow? So what is your thought?
Yeah, great question. I think separation is really in the mind. And if our mind is convinced that we need separation, then we're going to be uncomfortable when we don't have that, right? I think, and again, it goes back to like design and color choice, and how you can separate space within space, right? So I don't just believe it because I'm living it and it's how I design things. But yeah, you can have like your love making oasis, and then you can literally enter into a different kind of like room and feel very creative. And it's where you want to sit and jot down ideas and do brainstorms. I think it's all in how you design the space. And during COVID, it is more important now than ever to make sure your space is conducive to how you want to live. And think about that, right? It's how do you want to feel? Let's design it accordingly, right? It's not like this is how it's designed and try to feel this. I think we have to think how do we want to feel? How do we want to live? And we should create our environment to support that. So yeah, you can literally have a workspace. It might not be inside the bedroom, but it'll be 5 feet away right? Because like things are also getting smaller. There's only so much space on land, and there's just more people we have to begin to build up. This is already happening in Asia. It's happening. It's been happening all over Europe. The United States is beginning to catch up to that. You have some major metropolitan cities that are already doing that. But yeah, I mean, in COVID, why not be around? Why not surround yourself with plants? Why not surround yourself with color that can help evoke positive feelings, so that way you can just feel good about the space that you're going to be in for hours and days and weeks and months at a time.
So people who want to know more about your company, about you, and who are maybe nearby you, because I know your business is very local, what will be the best way to contact you? Can you share just a little bit more about your company and customers? So maybe some people can recognize, okay, maybe that's something for me. So why should I not contact Kimberly?
Yes. So our website is satoriventures.global. We do plan on doing projects outside of our home base in Boston, Massachusetts. We are already in touch with some folks outside of the U.S. to talk through building and development, because I think this concept of building out a space to help people just feel really good about being where they are at home, but then that pushes them to go out and experience the world. Living small, but small doesn't mean not having like wealth of life, right? The clients that we typically work with that like buy our projects really appreciate color. They really appreciate life and friendship. They appreciate art. They are, they're very sustainably focused as well. And so, in terms of like who is the best fit for this, anyone who loves life and appreciates the planet and enjoys color and beauty in all things. Our partners are people who have a very similar vision on just living a really fantastic and fulfilling life, and just not doing things that are so cookie cutter, right? Who wants to push the envelope a little bit. Those are the best partners that we find that we like to work with. You can also follow us at Satori Ventures, our Instagram. We're also on Facebook. And we love to build anywhere like near nature. So like the development that we just finished is right by the ocean. So which is perfect for people who are working remote and want to build up immunity or just be very close proximity to nature, whether it's ocean or like the mountains, trails, things like that.
Sounds perfect. Sounds amazing. I'm very interested to check your website and projects you're working on. Kimberly, thank you so much. It's really amazing to have you in our group. And please be free whenever you have some interesting project or something you can share, which is not confidential. Please share within a group to inspire other people, because it's really important nowadays to enjoy our life in our space. Yeah. And then it's not just a place where we sleep and take a shower. It's a place where we spend lots of time, especially this year. So, if that atmosphere is not convenient, then our life is not convenient either. So it's really, really critical, I'd say. And then colors, feng shui, all those things what you mentioned, just perfectly makes sense for me. Thank you, Kimberly.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ed.